If you've been paying attention to the tech landscape lately, you know the narrative is shifting, and it's shifting fast. The era of abstract pie-in-the-sky cloud experiments, yeah, that's ending. We are moving directly into the physical world. Welcome to this explainer on the 2026 Global Technology Outlook. We're going to explore how artificial intelligence is finally moving away from the massive hype cycle and right down into the actual hardware that powers our everyday lives.
Okay, let's dive into this. The quote you're seeing here from Deloitte's Tech Trends perfectly captures where we're at. The main question for 2026 is no longer, hey, what can we do with AI? We're way past that. Now we are demanding tangible, real-world impact. It's not about just testing the waters with endless pilots anymore. It's about driving actual structural transformation across the entire enterprise.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're physically tracking AI's journey, from turning those pilots into real impact, to the evolution of Cloud 3.0, down to edge AI and distributed intelligence, out to physical AI and robotics, and finally, how on earth we secure all of it.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Pilots to Real Impact. Major analysts at both Capgemini and Deloitte have officially designated 2026 as the year of truth for AI, and that's a big deal. The tech has to evolve from being just an isolated side project or a flashy proof of concept into the actual structural backbone of your enterprise architecture. But, as you might guess, getting there isn't exactly a walk in the park. Consider this staggering statistic. Only 11% of organizations actually have Agentic AI running in production right now. By Agentic AI, we mean systems that can make decisions and take actions completely on their own. 11%. That is a shockingly low figure when you consider the sheer amount of noise out there in the market. The gap between piloting a cool project and actually putting it into full-scale production is just massive.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the core reason behind that huge gap. Research predicts that a whopping 40% of these Agentic AI projects are going to fail. And get this, it's rarely because the technology itself doesn't work. It's because organizations are automating entirely broken processes instead of redesigning them from the ground up. They lack a clear end-to-end transformation strategy, and they completely miss that essential human-AI chemistry. If you want real impact, you've got to redesign, not just automate the past.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Cloud 3.0 evolution.
Just think about this for a second. Over the span of just 2 years, the cost of AI tokens plummeted an astonishing 280-fold. That's a massive drop. But because sheer usage absolutely exploded at the same time, enterprises are suddenly waking up to massive, sometimes multi-million-dollar surprise cloud bills. The entire economics of inference have completely flipped, and that's forcing organizations to heavily rethink their underlying computing strategy.
And that brings us to the Cloud 3.0 mentality. The old cloud-first approach, monolithic, entirely public, highly standardized, well, that just doesn't work for fine-tuning highly sensitive AI models. Cloud 3.0 is a strategic hybrid. It's all about blending private, multi, and sovereign clouds to handle that sensitive data while delivering ultra-low latency. The cloud isn't just a passive storage locker anymore, it's a highly active enabler.
Let's look at how this builds into the software lifecycle itself. AI is literally eating software. We've gone from writing code manually to using AI as a helpful co-pilot to an era where developers simply express their intent. They literally just articulate a desired business outcome, and the AI autonomously builds and maintains the complex architecture right behind the scenes. It's wild.
All right, Section 3, Edge AI Distributed Intelligence. So the crucial point is that a centralized cloud isn't always the answer, especially when we're talking about real-time operations. This is where Edge AI comes in. It pulls those heavy inference workloads out of massive server farms and embeds them directly into your physical hardware. We're talking your sensors, your cameras, and your industrial machines right on the factory floor.
According to a recent report from Siemens, there are 4 key constraints that are making this physical shift an absolute necessity. First up, latency. You simply can't wait for a signal to bounce to the cloud and back just to hit the brakes on a fast-moving smart machine. Second, you've got privacy and data governance concerns. Third, there are simple bandwidth limits when you're working in remote distributed areas. And fourth, soaring energy consumption in traditional data centers is forcing us to process things locally just to stay somewhat energy efficient.
But here's the catch. Fitting massive computing power into a tiny sensor is a crazy complex physics problem.
The semiconductor industry is actually solving this through what Pragmatic and Siemens call heterogeneous integration. Think of it kind of like a high-tech game of 3D Tetris. They're using advanced chiplets and die stacking to cram completely different processors into incredibly tight spaces, all while safely managing the heat and power limits locally. It's engineering at its absolute finest.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, Physical AI and Robotics.
The intelligence is officially moving off of our screens and straight into our supply chains. And we are seeing this happen in the real world right now. Take Amazon's Deep Fleet AI. It's coordinating a massive dynamic fleet of over 1 million robots, boosting warehouse efficiency by 10%. Over at BMW factories, cars are literally driving themselves down the production lines. And Pragmatic Semiconductor is pushing that intelligence all the way down to individual items, creating smart packaging that lets you track everyday goods in real time.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how fast item-level intelligence is exploding. Look at this. An incredible 92% of brands are either currently using or planning to adopt near-field communication, or NFC, in the next year. We are literally turning everyday physical products into intelligent data nodes that can constantly interact with the digital world.
Finally, let's hit Section 5, Security and Tech Sovereignty.
The Chief Information Security Officer over at AT&T recently hit the nail on the head regarding the core dilemma we face. They pointed out that AI drastically empowers your enterprise defenders, but it simultaneously arms your attackers. Everything now operates at blinding machine speed. You literally have to secure the data, the models, the applications, and the physical infrastructure all at the exact same time.
This intense pressure creates a massive focus on tech sovereignty. As Capgemini points out, the goal isn't full isolation. The goal is resilient interdependence. With new regulations rolling out, like the EU's digital product passports, which force companies to maintain digital tracking over a physical product's entire lifecycle, organizations have to build systems that are globally connected but locally controllable and completely legally compliant. Which leaves us with this final thought. As innovation compounds faster and faster, the gap between the leaders and the laggards is growing exponentially. The organizations that win in the long run won't just be running glossy, superficial pilots. They will fundamentally reconstruct their operations. So, you really have to ask yourself, in the year of truth for AI, are you truly redesigning your strategy for this distributed physical future? Or are you just automating the past?